So we're going to start with notes. I'm going to read this page to you, then you can pause and take the notes. So the title of this is going to be non-proportional linear relationships. So we've done proportional relationships, then we did slope, now we're looking at non-proportional relationships. We have two vocabulary words. One is slope, which you know, and I have it written here a couple different ways for you. We have change in y over change in x. Okay, we also have it expressed as rise over run. And you guys also, if you want, can express it as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, and slope, all of these different things are ways of telling us these three different things: change in y over change in x, rise over run, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, are three different ways of telling us the rate of change. The y-intercept, this is a new vocab word for you. It is the place where the line crosses the y-axis, and it tells us the initial value. And in this case, initial means starting or first. So I'm going to let you pause and take those notes, and then when you're ready, you can start again. So underneath where it says y-intercept, I would like you to draw a y-axis and an x-axis, and I would like you to draw any line and put a point right where the line touches or crosses the y-axis, and then give yourself an arrow and label it y-intercept. That's the place where the line crosses the y-axis. So I'm going to let you pause and go ahead and take those notes, and then we're going to talk some more. Okay, so you don't need to take notes here, but you do need to watch this part. We're actually going to look at this graph first, the one on the right. And here's our y-axis. And here we have our line coming down, and I am going to, this point right here is the y-intercept. It's the place where the line crosses the y-axis. And we have two ways we can express that y-intercept. We could say the y-intercept, and I often write y-int. We could say it's 2, because that's the y value. We could also give the coordinates for the y-intercept. The coordinates, x is 0, y is 2. Okay, you don't need to take notes on this, but if you'd like to, it's not a bad idea. Okay. On this one on the left, we have the lawyer problem that you just did. And we can see that the y-intercept here, here's the y-axis. Okay, the y-axis is showing us the total fee. Okay, and right here, there's our y-intercept. It was at 600. Okay, or you could say it was at the point 0, 600. And in this problem, it represented the initial fee, the one-time retainer fee. So the y-axis, the y-intercept is giving us the start value. If you're going to be my lawyer, I'm going to start by paying you $600, and 600 is the y-intercept. It's the start value. If you'd like to take those notes, you may. I'm about to erase, so go ahead and pause. Oh, I thought I paused. I didn't pause. Okay, so in the lawyer problem, we saw that the hourly rate was $400 per hour. So I'm just going to remind us, you don't need to take notes on this. You can just look. Anytime you see the word rate, also anytime you see the word per, those are hints that you have slope. So this is telling us the hourly rate, $400 per hour, is telling us that the slope is 400. The one-time retainer fee, often when you see one-time fee, that's telling you that you have a y-intercept. So this is saying that the y-intercept is 600. And the slideshow asks you to figure out the total cost for 8.5 hours. And you probably did 600 plus 400 times 8.5, or you did 400 plus times 8.5 plus 600. I'm just going to show you that you did the slope times x. Over here, same thing. We have the slope times x, which was hours. Okay, so you did the slope times x, and then you added the y-intercept. Either way, you're adding the slope to the y-intercept, or you're adding the y-intercept to the slope. Commutative property says it doesn't matter if you add the 600 first or the 600 last. Okay? If you want this in your notes, you can pause and take them. You're not required to have these, so this part's up to you. I'm going to keep going. Let me just, I want these all on. Okay, so this is definitely for your notes. Non-proportional linear equations. Y is the dependent variable. X is the independent variable. And we're used to M being slope, but we're not used to B being y-intercept. This is your new piece right here. All the rest of this you've seen before. I'm trying to write not new, but it won't let me. Not new. Y being the dependent, X being the independent, M being the slope. Those are all old concepts. B being the y-intercept is new. And people have always asked me, why is B the y-intercept? And I have done research on it and not found the answer. When you can pause until you've got this. And I'm going to keep going. So the next part of your notes, you should say that the equation is y equals mx plus b. And you can remind yourself that m is the slope. Okay? It's also the value times x. Slope is times. And then b, you can remind yourself, is the y-intercept. It is the thing that's being added. Okay, go ahead and take that and pause and take those notes. And when you're ready, we're going to move on. Okay, we have a little problem here to look at. A tent company has offered to rent a tent to CCLCS's 8th grade class. There will be a one-time setup fee for $250 plus $120 per week that we use it. Okay, so when you see this word per, that's a hint that you have slope. And when you see one-time fee, that's an initial value. That's a y-intercept. So the question says, write an equation that represents the total cost, y, of renting the tent for x weeks. So to remind you what the format of this equation is, the format is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and B is your y-intercept. Okay, so if you're going to, so I'd like you to pause and try to write that equation, and then you can check your answer. It's going to be y equals 120 x, sorry, I had dueling mice there, plus your one-time setup fee of $250. Thank you, and please do the video response form to get credit for this.